Joining me now for more on the latest in Ukraine is ABC News national security and defense analyst and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy. So, Mick, what does the Russian martial law now in effect in parts of Ukraine mean for Ukrainians in those affected areas?
So, Alexis, this is just another example of what President Putin is willing to do since he cannot turn around the ground war. His troops basically cannot fight the Ukrainian troops. They're losing. They're losing ground. They probably will lose Kherson. So they're turning toward targeting civilians, both with drones and missiles, and now basically using civilians as human shields to cover their withdrawal and potentially use them as hostages, quite frankly, since they will likely keep many of these civilians against their will around their positions. And of course, also forced conscription to fight other Ukrainians. So they're all violations of international law and human rights.
So the Biden administration has said that Putin is resorting to desperate tactics here. So what could we see come next from Putin after this martial law decree?
So certainly all the things I just mentioned, which are against the law of armed conflict and human rights violation. But the biggest concern, if that wasn't enough, is that that still doesn't work. So he has very limited options past that. And one of them would be this tactical low-yield nuclear weapon, potentially just to try to scare the Ukrainians into some kind of concession. That, of course, would draw on the United States, I believe, and other NATO, if not the entirety of NATO, to respond directly. So let's hope, really hope, that he does not go that way, but that's the biggest concern and the most dangerous course of action that he could take.
Absolutely. So Secretary of State Antony Blinken told our George Stephanopoulos that so far we have seen no interest from Putin to engage in diplomacy. So what does that mean for the future of this war?
Well, it's not good. We should always try to have discussions and have diplomacy if it can lead to the end of this horrific war. If President Putin's not even willing to talk, then it's impossible for us to do so. He will have to be backed into a corner of which he thinks he can talk his way out of, at least some concession that he can claim to the Russian people he had some sort of victory. I just don't see it. It's very clear the Ukrainians are going to fight until they take all their territory back, and that NATO and the United States will be with them in that. So it's very difficult to see how this would end, unfortunately.
And more, he's losing the support of his own people in Russia. Mick Mulroy, thank you.
Thanks, Alexis.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.